Hi, everybody. Hello again. Welcome back to the Slow Flowers Show with Deborah Prinzing. This is episode 532. Thanks so much for joining us today. We are live. This is not pre-recorded. And I'm so grateful that we can just go live and talk with our guest, Sarah Wagstaff. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, thanks for having me.
You bet. I wanted to start out by saying and posing this question to our audience. Why is it that we're supposedly moving into our quieter, perhaps dormant season, but we are doing everything but resting? I don't think I'm alone in this feeling. I wanted to discuss it with you, our audience, and bring Sarah, our guest, into the conversation. So I would love to introduce you, Sarah, and jump right into the conversation. Sarah is the owner of SUOT Farm and Flowers based in Burlington, Washington, in Skagit County. That's about halfway between Seattle and the U.S.-Canadian border, for those of you who need a map like me. SUOT Farm and Flowers is home to freshly hand-picked flowers and foliage. It's a no-till urban farm in the hub of Skagit Valley and includes a hugelkultur demonstration garden. I hear there's more than one. Educational workspace and floral studio. SUOT, S-U-O-T, and we'll talk about this. It stands for small units of time because, as Sarah says, we know that we aren't able to accomplish everything we want to in one day, but little by little we will get there together. I love that. I love that philosophy. Since 2015, Suet Farm and Flowers has been committed to providing customers with the freshest flowers, local bouquets, and unique arrangements with 100% locally grown Washington botanicals. As an urban micro farmer and farmer-florist, Sarah goes above and beyond for her customers to ensure they know that their purchases support a sustainable, local, woman-owned business. So let's jump right in, and welcome Sarah Wagstaff, coming to us live from her studio. Hi, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. This is great. Thanks for coming into my space.
Yeah, I love the virtual visit. And Sarah, I've been to this studio. I brought my mother. We came to a succulent pumpkin workshop about a year ago, and it's such a cool space.
Thank
Can
you.
you just give us a little tour, and then we'll talk about how it came to be?
Sure. So I've got about 400 square feet here. I think I can turn the camera and show you a little bit if you like.
Yeah,
Got my
people.
workbench that I'm at right now. I'm just working on a garland and some wreaths. And then I've got let's see, which way does it go? Full retail space this direction. There's the main entry there.
Wow, yeah, that's so
And then
pretty. So much light coming in.
Oh, I've got tons of huge windows. Yeah. We've got a bold sale going on right now. We've got tulips and ranunculus and daffodils. And then it's whitewashed right now, but that is all my vessels and vases. And I don't know if the camera will turn that way. Let me turn you back the other direction. I've got lots of wreaths for sale, a
Oh
bunch of
my
dried
gosh.
product, and
And your
the
workspace.
yeah, the shop keeps going. So we've got tons of space here, lots of things for sale, lots of items, and
It's so interesting because you're not you call it a retail space, but you're not like regular retail hours, right? And is it sort of by appointment only?
nope, we're open every Friday all day, 9:30 to 5, and every Saturday, 9:30 to 4.
Oh, okay. So you've kind of trained your customers that that's a good time to come see what's available.
Yep.
And it,
During the middle of the week, we're planting and weeding and harvesting and delivering, and we take orders every day of the week. And so we're out either cutting for those or delivering for those. And you can order anytime online, and we'll get your order to you as soon as we can.
great.
Or
Well,
you can shop.
we'll share the website in our show notes when this appears next week, as the podcast at deborahprinzing.com, where people can just look for you right now online. Um, this space that you're in, Sarah, really was a game changer. And I want to kind of talk about all the things that you have done and are doing to continually like improve and build and grow and develop your business because I think you've changed a lot since we first met, and we'll talk about that. But give us a snapshot of how you describe Suet Farm and Flowers now. And you mentioned some of the services. So you're pretty full service. You don't say no to much.
Well, we grow a lot of flowers, so we want to get those into people's lives however we can. I think it's so important to connect with nature. I find so much solace in reminding myself, like, I'm this tiny drop in the larger bucket. And some might feel like that doesn't really matter, but if there weren't any drops, the bucket would be empty. And so my drop matters, and so does yours. And when we connect with something that's way bigger than ourselves, it feels good and fulfilling and meaningful. And so plants do that, and flowers do that. And so we grow a lot of them. I want to get them to more people. So that's what we try to do. Any way we can, we try to get them into people's lives, either through like ceremony and ritual. You know, a lot of people love to bring plants and flowers into their special days, like their weddings or their, death services or birth announcements. And so we try to accommodate that and be there for those special days, birthdays, and just because days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you, when you started growing flowers, did you think that you were going to do a more design-driven business and go in that route, or did that kind of happen organically?
It always interests me because I thought it was a skill that I didn't have. And so I was really curious about it and wanted to learn more. And as I've learned more, I realize I enjoy it more. And then I like to teach it to other people because I find it really gratifying and fulfilling. And so it's kind of been multifaceted in that way of like the things that I enjoy. I know that other people will enjoy that. So let's share it.
Well, the growing is so fulfilling. And then to see how what you've grown is, displayed or shared or enjoyed is sort of the added part that some flower farmers don't necessarily get to experience because they're just, growing great product and selling it and then it goes away. So you're kind of you're keeping a hold on it.
Exactly. That's my favorite part, is watching the person connect with them, because you just see their eyes light up. And for me, like, it feels so wonderful to gift something to someone, and everyone is deserving of that, and everyone deserves to feel good. And so if we can help facilitate that, I love that moment when they realize in themselves that they're worthy of that.
Well, you're very active in your community, and Burlington, for people like me from Seattle, I think, oh, that's rural, but you really are in a city. What's the population of Burlington?
Great question.
It's probably like 50,000 or something, right? I don't know.
Oh, I think way less than that.
Oh, okay. But it's a city. It's a city.
It's totally a proper city, and we're close to Mount Vernon, Washington, and we're known. This area is known for its agriculture. The Skagit Valley is definitely known as a hub for all different types of crops, like bulb crops and seed crops and all kinds of grains. And so we grow a lot of amazing things here. There are a growing number of people. It's a cool little spot. I feel like it's in between two giant cities, Vancouver and Seattle, and so we get a good mix. But we still have a ton of natural, wild, open spaces, which feels good.
But the reason I brought that up is because your studio is in like a little mini commercial district, and so you get customers driving by and curious to know about what's going on behind the fence.
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're right on Highway 20, which is Burlington's called Hub City because it's the I-5 corridor north and south and the Highway 20 east and west. So if you head west, it goes to the ocean. If you head east, it takes you to a national park. We're kind of right in the center of that.
Right.
Just
right.
Beautiful zone to be in. Yeah. Beautiful. So we do get a bit of traffic on our road. Trains.
Yes, trains for sure. But you have this frontage and a big fence, and people may recognize that Sarah has used that fence as her own botanical billboard, especially in 2020. She had a big Black Lives Matter botanical message. You spelled out BLM in flowers, right?
Correct, yeah. And then we did another one following up in October that said vote.
Yes, the vote one. In fact, I think I talked to you on the podcast about that, and I'll share those photos with people so they can see it. So you're not hiding behind that fence. You're using it to just, create community and support causes you care about. And
right. The fence is only to keep the deer out, not the people.
Right. But you don't farm there. So talk about where you're farming and, what you, in a way, having. It's a model that would work for a lot of farmers. You have the agriculture land, but then you have a place that connects with customers. They may not be the same necessarily.
Sure. So we're a micro urban farm. So I live just a couple blocks from the shop. So I live in a busy street area as well. And we do grow a little bit here. We have a few thousand bulbs that we planted and a number of just ornamental shrubs. So it looks beautiful as you walk to the shop. And we live just a couple blocks from here in a very public space, and we have just half of an acre. So we grow on that and crank out a number of different crops: flowers, foliage, trees, shrubs, vines, seed pods.
That's so
We
neat.
try to find the beauty in a bunch of different things and cultivate them at different seasons. So.
And then you said you leased another half an acre somewhere else, right?
We
Nearby?
do, yeah. We lease half of an acre of just flat farmland from a friend of ours, and that has totally different conditions. It's wide open, full sun, full wind, so it's the plants have to be a lot hardier to be out there.
Like, what are you growing there?
Whatever will survive.
Like, is it more
So-
like annual field crops or?
No, I do almost all perennials. I hardly do any annuals at all. So I've got a ton of peonies out there and a bunch of roses, some trees and shrubs, and lots of mint, lots of oregano, just a bunch of different perennials. Let's see, we've got Russian sage and I was doing a couple annuals this year. I did a bunch of straw flower and some ornamental corn, just like experimental, plugging in, filling in
Yeah.
holes and gaps.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you're not really interested in having, a big quantity of a single variety. You want to have multiples of everything because of the way your aesthetic is. You're growing for your designs, right?
Yeah, and as we become more and more established, I'm bulking up quantities of things that I know I enjoyed growing, that I know that people enjoy receiving and giving, and then we sell wholesale. So we intend to bulk up and focus on our favorite crops more and more. We recently have an exciting news to announce. We just purchased 66 acres of farmland in Skagit. We're so happy that we could have a little bit more space to steward.
That's
And
awesome. I'm so happy for you.
thank you. We are so excited. So
66 acres, though, for one little family of 3. How are you going to do that?
So we, it takes a village, as they say. We definitely are not doing it alone. We have so many connections and help and different ideas for the property. So a big portion of it is in a conservation easement, which means it's just going to stay wild and natural and can't be developed, which is perfect. We love that. It's a big reason.
Was that part of the purchase deal? The seller had it in the easement already?
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
For a number of years, it's been in a conservation easement. So it's pretty awesome and wild. And it's an amazing birding spot. There's so much wildlife and it can never be developed. And so that was a huge selling point for us, which might not be for some people, but we love having that access to the earth and being able to provide that to others and allow people to experience what it's like to be in nature and to have a space that's just doing its thing. It doesn't need Miracle Grow. It doesn't need to be changed
that's
or
amazing.
plowed or anything. Yeah. So there's a big chunk
you're
that's just
and you're a unique buyer who saw the value in that, because I'm sure the developers of the world would want to just raise it and put in a subdivision.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband is a builder. And so we have kind of both ends of the spectrum where we really love natural and wild spaces and we want to preserve farmland. So if we can figure out a way to provide enough housing for people that live here and provide adequate access to space,
Yeah.
that's really our sweet spot. And so we feel like we found that and we are so excited about this new place. We spend as much time out there as we can. And it will be, I think, a gathering place for people. We've had so many interested people come out and just share it with us already and go on hikes and find quince trees and picked fruit. And we have a friend grazing their sheep on a portion right now. We have another friend that's starting a weed eradication business and using part of our barn to store things. So we really hope that many people can use this land, that it won't just be doing 66 acres. That's not sustainable. Where is it? Small units of time.
You mentioned the barn, so there's no residence there right now. You're not going to live there.
Well, we hope to, but there is no residence yet. So in the plans is to build a home that we will live in on site. Yeah. And that's when we will move a bunch more crops there and start our stewardship in practice, not just in ideal. So
yeah. That's wonderful. I'm
Hi,
so
Lori.
happy for you.
Thank you.
It's taking on a lot, but when I talked about how we're not I know I'm not feeling like I'm going into my like winter's nap right now because, daylight savings time just happened, and I haven't had my first frost, but a lot of people have. But I think that the reason that I'm not feeling it is I keep adding new projects that I want to do, and I think that you're the same way. Like, okay, we've maxed out our land, we've maxed out our studio. We want to have more of a rural life. Where can we do it? And you guys, how long did you hunt for that property?
Oh, we've always kind of been looking. I thought, no more than 3 or 4 or 5 acres. That's great. I don't need to own all the land, and there's no way that only my ideas are the best ideas for stewarding. There's so many different ways of growing and living with the land, and so we were looking for something much closer to town. I wouldn't call myself a city folk, but I really like people.
You're very social.
Yeah. So when this came up, I was like, oh, I mean, I will look at it, but 66 acres, that seems like a bit much. And we went to it, and the minute we got out, I looked around and just nodded and said, yeah, I love this place. It is stunning. The views were what sold me, and it just felt so good. And it's been interesting. The longer we've only owned it a few months, but stories have been coming out of the woodworks of different people that have lived on the property over the years, or, oh, my grandfather did this and that, and we grew up as kids running around there, and it's just felt like it's a home for so many people and creatures. So
How far is it from where you are, and like in what direction?
It's like 6 minutes. It's not far. It's in Burlington proper. It's still in town. It's it's very close. The view from the new property looks actually basically at where we live right now. So
okay,
it's kind of cool to see.
I
Oh,
love it. Oh, I'm so happy. I can't wait to visit it.
oh, it's stunning. Please come.
I was reminiscing with you about how we met, and I'm just going to tell the story and then ask you to tell us your path to flowers. I asked you how old your son was. You said he's 7.
Just about.
Almost 7, Huck. And your mother-in-law, Dawn Chaplin, is an old friend of mine. I mean, she's a young person, but a dear longtime friend. We were involved in the Northwest Horticultural Society together for years, and I had so many wonderful visits to Dawn and your late father-in-law, David. And I remember sitting in the living room 7 years ago, one evening with her as we were on our way to some horticulture event, and she said, "Oh yeah, my daughter-in-law is going to start growing flowers. I'll have to introduce you." And then I was like, "Yeah, I want to know about her." And I think she introduced us or something, and then you guys came to this very first Slow Flowers Summit together in 2017, and you were all in by then. So,
Oh yeah.
So tell me, like, you started as a veggie grower, right?
Yeah, I just really thought food was important, right? As we all do. And didn't really know much about flowers, but I had an interest in growing all different types of things, and flowers are very beautiful, but you couldn't eat them. And so I thought, oh, there's a place for that, but maybe later. And I heard about Diane Sukhavati, and she was doing this really cool class. And she toured people around different flower farms, and she gave a ton of instruction. And we went to Janet Foss's farm, and we went to Ojeda Farm, we saw Jello Mold's farm, and a number of different places. And I thought, man, this is really cool. I really like this a lot, but I didn't have the confidence in myself that I could do it. I felt like imposter syndrome, and I'm just small potatoes. And so I, grew a couple things here and there, but just felt too embarrassed to show it off. And then one day the growers market, Seattle Wholesale Growers Market, said they have a interested farmers day. So if you want to come and introduce yourself and see what we do at the farmers market or the flower market, come on over. So I took my kid and the stroller, went there, felt really embarrassed. And then I got there and looked around, and I was like, I grow that, I grow that, I grow that, I grow that. And they don't have it here. I think I might apply. And so I applied and brought stuff just as a sample the next week. And she wrote me a check for a few $100s. And I was like, that was a sample. I didn't know you were going to sell it. Okay, well, maybe I could do this. And so I started in earnest trying to do this. And little by little by little, I I've been trying to do it.
Oh my gosh. So you obviously have a great growing skills. You were growing and selling at the vegetables at the local market in Mount Vernon, right?
Yeah, I started a farmer's market in Alaska before we moved here. And then when we moved here, I was farming with a friend of mine doing poultry. And he did vegetables, and then I did herbs on the side. And that got more and more into flowers and less into poultry as I was growing another human. And so I sold at the farmer's market in Mount Vernon and helped out with his farm. And then after I had a kiddo, I said, I can't do both things all the time. And so he leases, that's my other half acre that we lease is from that farmer. He said, that's a weird truck or a weird chunk for my tractor to move around. If you're not using a tractor, that would be perfect for you to grow flowers. And I said, awesome. So I've been at that plot for 5 years now.
Wow. Yeah. So I brought that all up because you are really integrated into the local farming community, especially with smaller scale, I'm assuming mostly organic farmers who are kind of the new generation of farmers in your area where there are some large corporate farms. There's big ag
Oh, sure.
in the region as well, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great mix. There's some small, some large, some conventional, some organic. There's a huge mix in Skagit, and there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
And hopefully with the legislature and the building codes, we can keep farmland, preserve the farmland, and allow space for people to live. I think that's the sweet spot.
That's really important. I love that. We've been watching you make this beautiful garland, and this is like you do this so effortlessly, Sarah. Maybe you can.
The plants just want to do it themselves.
Yeah, maybe you can show us what ingredients you're using and talk a little bit about the process because it's just
sure.
It's so pretty. I want it for my dining table.
Oh, thank you. So this is just Western red cedar. It's from the tree right outside our shop. Actually, I needed to prune a branch or 5. So I'm going to reuse those and
nothing goes to waste.
Yeah, I don't like things to go to waste, especially if the plant has spent so much energy to grow. I want to honor that and kind of pay a tribute to that. This is some boxwood that is at one of the rental properties that we manage. And so I needed to prune that and get it tidied up for the next renter. So I thought, I'll grab some of those. I like the contrast in texture and color. Yeah. It kind of shimmers as well. And then another native plant like the cedar is this just sword fern.
Yeah.
I cut it up into bits where this is like the tip. Oh, where's the camera? There.
Yeah.
And then I cut it up to use the center and then use the bottom. And so once it goes into the garland, all kind of, you can see the texture in the brown and the curling as it dries. So it doesn't matter if it's the tip or the center. And that's just it. I'm just doing a real simple all greens one, varying a couple different things. And I like things to be compostable after. So I'm just using a regular twine that's not coated with anything. And I just make I'll show you. A little bundle in my hand, just with the small bits, crisscrossing, yep. Kind of make a fan shape. I lay one of my ferns across, and then grab a little bit of boxwood like that.
Yeah.
Layer it over the top, and then just give the stems a little hug. Snug them up like that by just winding them, and then as you go, they
that's fabulous.
Connect together, and it can drape or lay across the table or be hung over a mantle or a doorway, entryway, something like that.
I've seen so many evergreen garlands, but I've not really seen people put in the sword fern, but it's really cool to have the contrast of the spores that are going to be more coppery on the back.
I love how it dries. It dries naturally so beautifully. It curls in. Some of them curl to the side. I sell this to the wholesaler and to local florists, but they dry so beautifully. I love them. Yeah. I worked on a project a couple years ago where I spray painted a bunch, so that was kind of fun. They hold paint really well. We want to make it colorful for 4th of July and American grown flowers.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to talk about that. There's so much going on in the anti-spray world, and my philosophy is if we could just figure out how to get a non-aerosol water-based spray paint that would completely be, fine in landfills. Anyway, I've got some ideas, but I don't think it's marketable on a commercial level, but I think for artisans, it would be so easy to do. Just, just get a mist sprayer and use that to apply color.
I wonder if the hairsprays, hairspray where you put in a color for an event or something like that. I wonder, since those are safe for bodies, I wonder if those are water soluble and compostable.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
I don't know.
But I like the natural that you're doing. And because you have the farm stand, you said you're going to just use it to decorate the farm stand, but eventually someone's going to want to order one or purchase this one.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hosting a workshop coming up. I think it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, so not Black Friday, but the day after. Before people are traveling back to wherever they're headed, we're going to do an in-person garland workshop. So I will have tons of greenery, dried product, fresh product, and I'll show you how to do this, and we can make one in person and pick whatever length you want.
And how many people can you accommodate? And I think when I was there with my mom, maybe there were only 4 students, but it was a year ago and a little bit more concern about social distancing because no one was vaccinated.
Yeah, I still feel like I want to keep people safe as my utmost priority and have fun a little bit, but mostly safe. And so I can accommodate up to 6 in this space. If we are to be outside, maybe a little more, but I think I really like that personal connection and the FaceTime that we get with each other and, meaningful.
I mean, the space is very cozy and like being in a cottage. You want to look at everything on display, and so it's hard to focus on your craft project because you're selling things from, like you said, you have the bulbs, you have some artisan pieces from local vendors, right? Or you're curating.
Yep. I have a number of different things from all women makers. And we sell soaps and jewelry and paper products and hard goods. We have a lot of different things that are great for gifting or that have some tie into the plant and natural world. Some smudge sticks and some things for ritual. Yeah. I've started a little funny ritual where I call it my midday murder. I make myself an afternoon cup of tea and then pour out the rest of the boiling water on my weeds in my driveway. And so I started labeling that as my midday murder and encouraging anyone to murder along with me, and it's catching. So I've started carrying some tea kettles and some mugs. So
what is the hashtag midday murder? I love it.
Yes. Where's the camera? I can't.
Yeah, it works.
Midday Murder Club. Yep. Hashtag Midday Murder or Midday Murder Club. We've got a number of members, and it's just funny and silly and a good chance to kind of reset and check in with yourself and check in with the day and check in with the weather and talking about slowing down it even just for 2 minutes to sit and warm yourself with whatever you're drinking, coffee, tea, warm beverage, cocoa, and just remember you're important. What's happening today? It's going to be okay. Do some murder.
And then just get rid of those weeds in a safe way that's not poisoning the earth.
And it's immediately safe for animals and for pets to walk on. You can do it in rain or cold or wet or dry or sunny middle of the night, whatever you want.
I'm never going to look at a teapot again in any way now going forward without thinking of.
We have some really cute ones in the shop. So.
That's awesome. Well, we're getting together with a couple other people very soon to co-present at the Washington Tilth Organic Farming Conference, and I just want to thank you for saying you'll be part of that. And let's wrap up by talking about our goals for that. Tilth is a large organic farming organization across the state of Washington. I think it's called the Washington Tilth Alliance. And we realized that when we were invited to submit a proposal, I realized like this is very food based or, food and maybe livestock. Because that's what people, that's a big population of farmers that are being served by that organization. So there's a track called New Markets, and I'm like, we got to talk about flowers. We have to show up. So thanks for saying you'll be part of that. I think you'll inspire people because you did come from food farming.
Yeah. And it's funny that it's a new market because everyone's got to eat, but everyone also has to feel good. And we forget that that's a need. It's not new. It's always, but it's newly resurging that people matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our feelings and how we relate to things matter. So I think it's awesome. And flowers help with that. They make people feel good, and they connect us back to the earth, which such a good reminder. I think the farmers that will be there and the participants are just gonna love it.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that there are people who have to be kind of tricked into doing the right thing, and so if we talk about the business aspect of building your your family farm or diversifying, and if you get somebody interested in growing flowers, even just purely for the like the profit motive, hopefully they'll get hooked, and then they'll start that sort of human health, mental wellness benefit will come. But we might have to like trick them into it.
They've got to have a why for sure. Yeah. But I think that goes with anything. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I just think that you're kind of the poster child for trying everything once and seeing what works. And then, I think along the way in the, maybe 7-8 years since when did you actually form SUOT?
In January of 16. I started selling in 15 and then thought, actually, this is a business. I need to be official. So
yeah. So 6-7 years ago, you've had lots of channels that you've sold through. Some you've discarded, like, you don't sell at the farmer's market anymore. Correct?
No. And with COVID and with all the things, I think we are still learning what is best for the farm, as we always have to, and figure out what things work for us and work for our family and work for the community. But I also think that as we have established ourselves in the community, we are open to those collaborations and partnering with people. So we plan to keep expanding and to keep growing in our stewardship of the earth and hopefully getting more flowers out to more people. So.
Yeah, and you are doing some fun collaborations, and I think having a space that, like we're seeing you in, allows you to bring in other, other instructors, or to partner with organizations for, special events, and it's just become this versatile hub for flowers in Burlington. So, it's doing what you wanted it to do, and I love that.
Yes. Well, small units at a time. You'll get there, no matter what it is.
I think about that so often. It's such a freeing concept, Sarah. Like, okay, daunting project, just break it down into like little chunks. And I don't know where that philosophy came from, but you've adopted it quite beautifully.
Yeah, you can't do it all. Nobody can. So that's an unrealistic expectation. If we can let that go and say, but what can I do? What can I do for 5 minutes? Get that done. Okay, what about the next 5 minutes? What about the next 5 minutes? And then break that down into, at the end of the week, you're like, hot damn, I did a lot. And that's good. That's perfect. That's good enough. It doesn't have to be what somebody else is doing. It doesn't have to be everything on the list. It's enough. And we do a lot in the day and the week. And so if we can do it all together and help each other and cheer each other on, and we're gonna go places.
What a wonderful sentiment to end on. Sarah, thank you so much. I love watching this garland come to life. You're inspiring me to just go pick up all the branches that fell down in the storm yesterday and make a mini garland for my dining table, because my neighbor's cedars are all over my backyard now. And,
there you go.
I think I'm going to emulate your method, and but you make it look effortless. So thanks for sharing a little DIY too.
I was talking with my employee yesterday, and we say, do your best, mulch the rest. Just put a little dirt on that, and it'll grow something more beautiful than you imagined.
That's a t-shirt and a mug. Well, I will see you very soon in Linwood, Washington on the 20th. I think that today might be the last day that they're selling registration, but we're going to try to videotape our presentation and share it with others. So thanks for joining me and in just telling the SUOT story and inspiring, hopefully, a number of people to break it down to small units of time and, think about how to connect with your community. You're doing that so beautifully. And I'm just so glad to have you part of the Slow Flowers community too.
No, thank you so much. We are so glad to have this larger support network that helps us out.
Great. Okay, take good care. Thanks so much.
Hi, Deborah.
Bye-bye. Before we wrap up, I want to just add a few things. Sarah, if you've got to take off, that's fine. I'm going to just share a few more things. We're going to post the replay video of today's show along with the downloadable podcast link in next week's Slow Flowers podcast for episode 532, which you can find at deborahprinzing.com. Before we wrap up, I have a few sponsor thank yous to share. This show is brought to you by slowflowers.com, the free online directory to more than 880 florists, shops, and studios who design with local, seasonal, and sustainable flowers, and to the farms that grow those blooms. It's the conscious choice for buying and sending flowers. Thanks to our lead sponsor for 2021, Farm Grow Flowers. Farm Grow Flowers delivers iconic burlap wrap bouquets and lush, abundant arrangements to customers across the U.S., supporting more than 20 U.S. flower farms by purchasing more than $9 million of U.S.-grown fresh and seasonal flowers and foliage annually. You can learn more at farmgrowflowers.com. Thanks to the Seattle Wholesale Growers Market, a farmer-owned cooperative committed to providing the very best the Pacific Northwest has to offer in cut flowers, foliage, and plants. The Growers Market's mission is to foster a vibrant marketplace that sustains local flower farms and provides top quality products and services to the local floral industry. Visit them at seattlewholesalegrowersmarket.com. Our next sponsor thanks goes to Longfield Gardens, which provides home gardeners with high-quality flower bulbs and perennials. Their online store offers plants for every region and every season, from tulips and daffodils to dahlias, caladiums, and amaryllis. Check out the full catalog at Longfield Gardens. That's longfield-gardens.com. And our final sponsor thanks goes to Rooted Farmers. Rooted Farmers works exclusively with local growers to put the highest quality specialty cut flowers in floral customers' hands. When you partner with Rooted Farmers, you are investing in your community and you can expect a commitment to excellence in return. Learn more at rootedfarmers.com. Thanks so much for joining us today. The Slow Flowers Show is a member-supported endeavor, and I value our loyal members and supporters. If you're new to our weekly show and our long-running podcast, check out all of our resources at slowflowerssociety.com and consider making a donation to sustain Slow Flowers' ongoing advocacy, education, and outreach activities. You can find the donate button in the column to the right at deborahprinzing.com. I'm Deborah Prinzing, host and producer of the Slow Flowers Show and podcast. Next week, you're invited to join me in putting more slow flowers on the table, one vase, one stem at a time. The content and opinions expressed here are either mine alone, of those of my guests alone, independent of any podcast sponsor or company or other person or organization. So thanks again for joining me, and I will see you next week. Sarah, thank you so much. Have a great day. It's been a wonderful show.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.